Welcome back to Client Stories with DNAngels. I am Cindy. It's been a while, but today I want to share with you one of my most memorable cases from 2024. His name is Jason. Jason grew up believing he was a product of incest. He was haunted by the idea of poison coursing through his veins his entire life. But when his case was finally solved, everything changed. Within 2 weeks of discovering the truth, Jason and his wife embarked on a life-changing journey to meet his biological father. What they found and what they did next will leave you inspired. So for Jason, understanding his roots were more than just a curiosity. It was a journey to untangle a haunting past and discover who he truly was. Jason was adopted. He had grown up with a little information about his biological family. He knew his mother's name, but the story surrounding his birth was deeply troubling to him. So he was told that his biological mother was a victim of rape, and even worse, that his biological father and grandfather may actually be the same person. And that story cast a shadow over Jason's sense of identity for years. But Jason decided it was time to uncover the truth. He wasn't just looking for answers about his medical history. He was looking for the truth surrounding his conception and hoping to connect with family in a meaningful way. So since we had a name for mom, which ended up being an abbreviated first name and a married last name, so it wasn't extremely helpful, I began to search on the maternal side. DNA matches quickly revealed he had two half-brothers who we learned were also adopted. But we were able to connect with their mother, their adopted mother, who was managing their kits. And she had information about mom. They had actually met the bio mom, and they were open to meeting and building a relationship. So that was very exciting for him. So while the maternal side was starting to take shape, we shifted the focus to his paternal side. This was the part of the story that carried the most fear and uncertainty. The possibility that his grandfather and his father were the same person had weighed on him for years. But then we had a breakthrough. We were able to confirm that the story of his conception was not true. There was no connection between Jason's bio mother and his bio father. So with that truth, Jason he said it was a weight lifted off of him. He felt like he had poison coursing through his veins his entire life. Can you imagine that, growing up thinking that you're a product of incest when it wasn't even true? So that was great. Jason, when he heard the truth, it was life-changing. For years, he just felt like his existence was, tainted, something dark and inescapable. When Jason heard the truth, it was life-changing. For years, he felt like his very existence was tainted by something dark and inescapable. But learning that the story wasn't true lifted a weight he didn't realize he had been carrying. So the next step was finding Jason's biological father, which turned out to not be that easy. His bio father had lived a transient life. He had few family connections and almost no digital footprint. But we were very lucky in his case on both sides that he had some cousin matches that were, first of all, they responded to us when we reached out to them, and second of all, they were willing to help. So they were able to reach out to other family, ask questions, and provide us with information where we learned that his biological father was in a assisted living facility in Arizona. And Jason lived in Colorado. So within 2 weeks of learning who his bio father was, Jason and his wife made the trip from their home in Colorado to Arizona to meet his bio father for the first time. And while the meeting was wonderful, he said he walked in and his dad looked at him and says, "Hey, you look like me." And everybody in the nursing home knew who he was without even having announcing himself. He said it was a really great experience meeting his father and spending those few days with him. But Jason didn't just, but what Jason found wasn't just his bio father, but a man living in shocking conditions. His dad had some medical issues and he was struggling in ways that Jason hadn't anticipated. Jason had seen his living conditions and he said they were truly atrocious. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, Jason found a sense of purpose. So immediately, as soon as they got back to Colorado, Jason and his wife began formulating a plan to get his bio father moved from that assisted living facility in Arizona and move him to Colorado to a facility just a few blocks away from him. So they made the plan, they made the calls, they got everything lined up for him. They were ready to, within 2 weeks of their visit, they were going to return the 2 weekends. They were scheduled to leave on Saturday morning. And on Friday night, the eve they were supposed to leave, Jason got a phone call that his mother, who lived in Utah, was dying. And he needed to get up there to be with the family and be with her in the end. So instead of Jason going to Arizona, Jason flew out to Utah to be with his mother and his family, and she did end up passing within a few days after that. But his wonderful, amazing wife, she drove by herself from Colorado to Arizona to pick up Bio Dad. And not only did they pick up Bio Dad, they picked up Bio Dad's friend who was also living there. And she brought them both back to Colorado on her own. And because of Bio Dad's health conditions, they had to do it over 2 days. He couldn't do a long drive, so they had to stop overnight. She got him moved to their new facility, a couple blocks from them in Colorado, got them settled in, and then she went on to Utah to meet with the family and for his mother's services and was there for them. Amazing family, amazing wife, amazing man. So this created a new chapter for Jason. He was able to get the answers that he wanted. He was able to connect with a father who didn't even know he existed and start building a relationship with him, which is exactly what they did. I can't tell you guys how impressed I am with not only Jason, but his wife. But sadly, his bio father passed away just a few months later. But knowing Jason did everything he could to not only build a relationship with his bio father, but also to take care of him and his friend, it makes the best of the remainder of the time for the bio father's life. You know, he gave him the best life he could for what remained. And I'm sure that brought some peace and comfort to him. I know when I heard about his passing, it was very sad, but I was like, you know, you didn't waste any time. If he would have sat on it for a couple months, he would have missed that opportunity. But they acted right away. And within 2 weeks of finding out who he was there meeting him. And within 2 weeks of meeting him, he was moving him. So he didn't waste any time. You know, a family isn't always perfect. And the past isn't always kind. But for Jason, uncovering the truth, it brought clarity. It brought connection and a renewed sense of purpose. Jason's story is important to me because it shows how amazing and resilient growing up he was, believing he was a product of incest, and his character, his incredible character, step and take care of the man and his friend that were strangers to him. It's so inspiring to me. If you've been touched by Jason's story and would like to show your support for him, please leave a yellow heart in the comments, as yellow is one of Jason's favorite colors. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.